Why didn't they ban cinnamon? Cinnamon has a lot less coumarin in it than Tonka bean does. So the Tonka bean was more of a therapeutic drug dose than the cinnamon is. If you don't study history, we are all doomed to repeat it. And we're about to repeat it if we allow Big Pharma to do with tobacco what they did with the bean called Tonka bean. This has everything to do with tobacco and nicotine, by the way, right now that you're watching worldwide. Okay? So these scientists break down the bean, boil it, smash it, break it down into its little bitty components. They can look at it under a microscope, and they identify there's two molecules that are identical in both. And they decide to name this chemical. Okay, so they find a nutrient in the bean, and they find a nutrient in this bark from another tree that are identical in structure. And they decide to name it. Remember, the people in the jungle don't have a name for it. These people in science wanted to name it, and they named it Laban coumarin, Coumarin. So coumarin is what they named it. The name of the bean is called a Tonka bean. The bark from the tree is what you now know as cinnamon bark, just so you know. So they were taking Tonka beans in this bark of the tree, and in it was this compound they named coumarin, Coumarin. All right, now, come early 1900s, these chemists in France isolated this molecule found in both, but they found that in the Tonka bean was like 100 times more of this stuff than in the bark called cinnamon. All right, follow me here. The bean had more of this nutrient called coumarin that protected the deadly side effects of venoms than the bark of the tree we call cinnamon. Got it? All right. So now they've isolated this compound. It's found in both. And then they want to commission their chemists now who have isolated the molecule to now figure out how to make a synthetic fake chemical that looks identical almost to this coumarin compound. And I already slipped up here in this interview. They decided to name the new chemical molecule version Coumadin. They just changed the R in coumarin to a D for drug, Coumadin. And now there's millions of people around the world going to CVS, Walgreens, Rite Aid, Walmart, Target, pharmacies to get Coumadin in a little orange bottle that they could take every day to prevent blood clotting. What the scientists at the Louis Pasteur's Institute found out about Tonka beans and cinnamon bark is that the majority of the creatures in the area called coumarin, their venom caused blood clotting to kill its prey and the humans. And this coumarin compound was super effective at preventing blood clots from occurring from venom. Well, when they isolated the coumarin compound and called it Coumadin, they could figure out how much of that to pack into a tablet, capsule, whatever, and then have human beings and animals take it. And they found that it would thin all mammals' blood based on the doses. And some of those doses were deadly. Some of these people would start bleeding out of their nose, ears, mouth, and they would hemorrhage to death because their blood was too thin. So they started figuring out ranges of doses of just this fake blood thinning chemical that almost looks identical to a nutrient in a bean and cinnamon bark that does the same thing in nature. Okay, now these plants have been doing this for millennia. In the late 1800s, early 1900s, the Louis Pasteur Institute figures out how to synthetically make something similar. All right, if you don't study history, we are all doomed to repeat it. And we're about to repeat it if we allow Big Pharma to do with tobacco what they did with the bean called Tonka bean. All right, so Louis Pasteur Institute isolates it. They call it synthetic version. They call it Coumadin. Then it reaches American shores, and in the 1950s, the FDA approves Coumadin as a blood thinner. Okay? And all of you are still aware of what Coumadin is, and most of our senior citizens are taking it every day today. Okay? Coumadin in a prescription form. All right, so in the 1950s, early 1950s is when the FDA approves Coumadin to be a drug prescribed by medical doctors in America. And then all pharmacies in America start carrying it. Do you know what was done in 1953, Laban? If you read my book, you do. What did Big Pharma tell the FDA to do with Tonka beans? Where they got Coumadin from. They told the FDA to ban all Tonka beans from being added to our food supply in America. And on the FDA's website right now still exists this permanent ban since 1953 that American food companies and supplement companies, you can't break down the Tonka bean into a supplement or a food item for people to consume. No, 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 that's illegal. You can't do it. Only we can isolate the nutrient, synthetically make a fake version, and then put it in a supplement form or capsule form and call it a drug that now will be paid by your health insurance companies and prescribed by your medical doctor. We're going to ban the Tonka bean. Now, notice they didn't ban cinnamon. Why didn't they ban cinnamon? Cinnamon has a lot less coumarin in it than Tonka bean does. So the Tonka bean was more of a therapeutic drug dose than the cinnamon is. To sprinkle a little bit of cinnamon on your toast is not going to thin your blood or reverse diabetes. But if you ate that whole damn tree, it would. But they're not asking you to do that. Nicotine is in its highest content found in the tobacco plant alone. The second highest is eggplant. The third highest is red tomatoes. Notice, no one's talking about banning eggplants or red tomatoes from your grocery stores. No, no, no. 200 countries in lockstep right now in the last 3 years have all started to introduce taxation, regulation, and rules about how tobacco can be purchased, who can sell it, and the nicotine products that can be sold commercially. They want to ban all access from you being able to get it by the year 2030. And if you don't study history, we're all doomed to repeat it. So here we go. You ready, Laban? This is what I haven't talked about a lot in presentations, okay? Nicotine alone is known to cure over 500 different medical diagnosed diseases. And I have the medical textbooks, and every year it has been published to do so for every one of those conditions. So if you think you know more than I do, you must have read those textbooks plus more. If you're going to complain and write some weird comment to Laban's platform, don't do that until you read that stuff. I've already read it. I've already done shows on it. I've already presented it. Go read it. I've even published it in books. Go read them. Go see them. Go look them up. I have all the references there. What you don't know is the real reason they're attacking tobacco and nicotine and want to ban it from all countries. I just told you what they did with the Tonka bean. What did they do? They banned the Tonka bean after they figured out that inside Tonka bean found in nature was the highest amount of a blood clot busting, blood thinning compound called coumarin. They decided to call Coumadin. Okay. The pharmaceutical industry is profiting every day, including today, by banning Tonka beans in favor of a prescription version of a nutrient found in that plant. I just said if we don't study history, you're doomed to repeat it. I can name 24 drug companies right now who have patents, Laban, for a synthetic nicotine drug. So I have a question for you. If I could show you the names of the companies who have patents on synthetic nicotine that they want you to get through a prescription at a pharmacy, if they are making a synthetic form of nicotine, my question for you is this: what's their beef with just selling over-the-counter nicotine products or tobacco products that have the highest amount of nicotine? Why would pharmaceutical companies, the largest bribing entities in the world for all elected officials through lobbying dollars, why would Big Pharma want to ban access to tobacco and nicotine agents that are already available over the counter? Why would they want to do that? In favor of higher prices if they can control that it's only a pharmaceutical now. And you have to get it through your pharmacy, through a prescription of your medical doctor. They know they can jack up the prices and profit off of this like they have forever by not allowing you to buy supplements made with Tonka bean powder in it for the last 100 years. No, no, they only want you getting the prescription version that they can dictate the pricing and the patent structure on patent, P-A-T-E-N-T, that allows them to profit however much they want off of this. And if you want to go learn more about that, I actually just 2 weeks ago, Laban produced a presentation on my website, and the PowerPoint's on the resources tab. It's titled, Why Big Pharma is Bribing All Governments of the World to Ban Tobacco and Nicotine Products. And this presentation is one of my favorites ever, because side by side, I will take in 2024 the highest revenuing drug product on the market worldwide in 2024. I take number one drug, which is called Keytruda. It's a cancer drug made by Merck. They made $30 billion in 12 months in 2024 off of that one drug, Laban. Number two drug sold in the whole world last year was Ozempic. What's that for? Ozempic. Ozempic is for obesity. Did you know since 1510, tobacco is known to prevent obesity, which just profited $17 billion for Big Pharma last year alone with one drug called Ozempic. That doesn't include Wegovy, Trulicity, Zepbound, which are all the same drugs. It's just Ozempic. Did you know it's been known in multiple centuries tobacco has been used by medical doctors to reduce and regulate hunger, which is what Ozempic's promoted to do? Okay, I take you through all top 10 drugs. You just have to know Big Pharma profits the most off of all these drugs they're making, which are known that tobacco addresses most of them and has been known to do that in orthodox medicine and medical journals and textbooks for 500 years now, Laban. And if you don't watch what they're doing, you should at least ask yourself, if nicotine is so bad for you, why are 24 drug companies making a nicotine drug? Why? If it's so bad for you, why is Big Pharma wanting to patent synthetic nicotine into drugs to put in all pharmacies in the world? If it's so bad for you, why are they wanting to make their own? Now you start to realize, oh, this is why Big Pharma hates the tobacco plant. You can't patent a plant. It comes from nature. They know you're not coming back to the ER if they make you aware that nutrients that can be bought over the counter provide value to your health. So this is the world you live in.